What's up, Bay Area? I'm your guest host, Sandy Prito, and I'm the president and co-founder of Notes4Hope. I'm excited to talk to and learn more about my guest today, Kevin Hamilton, founder and owner of Canyon Club Brewing, and Christian Kazikoff, brewmaster at Canyon Club Brewing. I want to learn more about their successes and their continued giving back to the community and what you've built for our wonderful community. So tell me about Canyon Club.
Sure. Well, our mission is basically make great beer and provide the best place to drink it.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of simple, but so many things. A beer is a great beverage, but it's so much more about the experience that we try to create, whether it be the hospitality or our environment, the beer garden, things like that, the right temperature, the right glassware, things like that. So that's really our mission.
And you talked about place. So you're in Moraga, California.
Yes.
Why Moraga?
Why Moraga?
And why 1588 Canyon Road?
Moraga, it's kind
1558.
It's kind of an interesting space. For me, I think it provided the type of area that I had in my mind, right? That you have plenty of space to kind of roam around. It's not a crowded thing.
It is a great open area.
Yeah.
I love that about it.
It was one of the only areas, a big part of it is just kind of being able to take a breath and actually enjoy your beer, right? This isn't something you're standing at a bar chugging. And so in order to get kind of that square footage and have easy parking and things, Moraga seemed the place that needed it, and just the rural setting and everything just made sense to create the environment we wanted to create.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
And how did you two meet?
We met through a mutual friend that owns a brewery in Berkeley. He gave Kevin a recommendation to find a new brewer to start up the Canyon Club. And I was currently working as a brewer in in West Marin. And I jumped at the chance because, it meant that my commute was going to drop by a lot.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your background, Christian, because obviously you're the brewmaster there at Canyon Club.
Sure.
And quite good, obviously, and I love the names of your beers and whatnot. But give me some
I have
of
a lot of fun with that.
Yeah. Give me some of your background.
Okay, so in a nutshell, I've always been in the hospitality industry. I've been working in restaurants since I was a teenager, and after my stint in the Navy, still ran with it. I went to college for hospitality at City College of San Francisco, and then one thing led to another. When I moved to the East Bay in Berkeley, I found myself at a job at a brew pub in Berkeley called Triple Rock, and I was working in their kitchen, but I got to be really friendly with the brewers there, and I was starting to really get into beer. I mean, what 25-year-old wouldn't be working in a brew pub? And
dream job.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I just fell in love with it. I started volunteering some time with them in the brewery. I started going to events. It took actually a trip to Portland, Oregon for the Oregon Brewers Festival. And when I saw just the people that were attending it, I saw the people that were participating in it and all the different beers. It just got me really excited about this whole new world that just opened up, and I just fell in love with it. And when a position opened as a brewer in Triple Rock, I jumped at the chance, and I never looked back, and that was now 27 years ago.
Wow.
So I worked at Triple Rock and became the head brewer there after about 4 or 5 years, and then went to West Marin at a place called Iron Springs in Fairfax, and I was there for about 10 years, and then now I'm here with Kevin at Canyon Club. The third place Moraga. And it's funny. It's my third place, and we call it the third place.
Yeah, explain that concept, third place.
The third place, it's an older book by Ray Oldenburg. I think it's called The Great Good Place. He's an environmental psychologist. And, he stresses that every good culture, every strong community has a third place. And you see it historically in America. It might have been the tavern. It's the Biergarten in Germany. It's the pub in England, right?
Right.
And it's good food, good conversation, but he stresses that really conversation is kind of the main activity there, right? And having the beer or whatever is kind of an ancillary activity.
Well, it's the thing that brings
It is.
the
It's
community
the
together.
binder.
It's the binder
It's
for
the
the
binder,
conversation.
right? And so this third place, your home being your first, work being your second, sadly. Strong communities have this place where you're going to walk into Canyon Club and you're probably going to see someone you know in a good way. It's just kind of that community space, when there were the fires and everyone lost power, we didn't, and we put out like 100 charging strips, right? And the town came and everyone charged their equipment. It's that kind of, we're the third place. When there's a
And
fundraiser.
You're the second and third place for you.
Yeah. I actually read this book while I was in Europe, and I remember I was a kid, I was like 20, and I remember seeing children come into this beer garden, and they all ran over to this little playground, like 100 of them. And some of these kids probably weren't their friends, but they just all played together, and then the parents were over here. And even as a young person, I was like, gosh, America doesn't do that very well. It's kind of this segregated thing that, you sit here and only adults go to bar. And it's not a family thing like it is other places. And so, I live here. I live in the Bay Area, obviously. And it's something that I think I struggled to find too, as I had young kids. And that's part of the reason it came about. And Moraga, again, just seemed like the perfect space for it.
Fun and
Truly.
interesting. Yeah, and let's dive a little deeper into your background. Because you didn't, he came up in hospitality. I think you had a slightly different path.
I had I did. I too grew up in hospitality, my first job at 14 all the way through.
Like many of us.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like struggling actors. It's like you're going to college and you got to work in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to work.
Sure. I actually, I put myself through college working at the Madonna Inn. Actually.
You're kidding.
Yeah, as a bartender and a waiter. Yeah, and so I loved the energy. I loved the vibe. I liked working in hotel hospitality a lot too. It's just everyone was on vacation and new people coming in and out. I've always loved it.
Yeah.
I did actually go to college for forensic psychology.
Yeah. Forensic psychology.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
But it sounds fascinating. Why not study something that's interesting?
Totally. It's one of those things I think that's interesting, and then when you get in practice, you're like, wow, this is some heavy stuff.
And how long did you actually do forensic psychology?
About 2 years.
2 years.
Yep. And then I came crying back to the hospitality industry.
And never looked back.
Never looked back.
As Christian says.
Yeah.
What parts of Canyon Club are the most challenging things? And what, as a counterpoint, what brings you the most joy? I kind of feel like I know the answer to the latter, but what are some of the more challenging things, especially starting? Because how long have you been open now?
We opened in late 19, so a little bit of a challenging time to open.
Yes,
no kidding.
The immediate challenge being the pandemic, several months later.
Yeah. But you made it through.
Mm-hmm. We did.
That was a challenging time, obviously. But you created tell us more about what you all did during the pandemic, because it meant a lot to me.
Oh, well.
Well, I had to still brew beer and get it out there. So instead of having an in-house retail operation, we did what a lot of other companies did during the pandemic, and that's where we reached out to customers at home. Mm-hmm. So we were delivering, we were a to-go station, and we were trying to provide as much as we can to the wholesale, to the off-premise stores. So that changed our approach from the beginning, which was we weren't really going to start doing a lot of this packaging and cans for 2 or 3 years, but because of what happened, it forced us to kind of look into that and do that just to stay afloat.
Right.
Yeah, pivoting to packaging was huge for us at that time, and it just forced us to learn kind of that trade of getting delivery vans and getting accounts and setting up things, and it was a great way to learn through it, kind of trial by fire, and it got us through a lot.
Yes. Plus that, as we talked about, that huge open outside area allowed you to be able to intermittently open with the social distancing.
Yes. When that came
for
back.
me, that was huge. Again, being that I live in Moraga, the sense of community that you have built and facilitated
Yeah,
and
well,
the
thank
vibe
you.
that you've created is so wonderful.
Well, thank you. I think it's part of it's the people too, though, that
Yeah.
come, right? I mean, during the pandemic, I remember people buying sweatshirts, and I'd say, well, what size? And they'd say, I don't care. And I realized they were just buying stuff to help us
Right, to
that they
support.
didn't need. So this kind of idea of us being an integral part of the community goes both ways. And I credit the community with getting us through the pandemic, truthfully.
And speaking of, you give a lot to the community. Being the
We do.
president and founder of Notes4Hope, I know that personally because you make the FU Cancer IPA starting 3 years ago when we couldn't do concerts.
That's right. That's right.
But I know it's not just us. So talk about your involvement in not just Moraga, but
Yeah.
community and fundraising and
Well, you make
giving
a lot
back.
of beers. You make a lot of beers.
A lot of different styles, yes.
But a lot that like Ales for ALS and the Veterans Blend.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can do donations just on the app for when
Sure.
you're ordering.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, we do a lot of fundraising. Mostly we try to stick local.
Right.
But certainly anything with the schools, and again, it goes both ways. Anytime they're having a fundraiser at the school, of course, we're good for gift cards, we're good for whatever.
Right.
And then the coaches have their dinner at Canyon Club.
Yes.
So it's always kind of been this. But
Lots of events.
we decided early that to be an integral part of the community, we have a bigger responsibility, I think, than an individual. Right? We create more garbage, you could argue. We use more water.
Right,
We're a bigger part, and so we need to give back, I think, more than a lot of people if we're going to kind of make a commensurate.
And one of the things that
donation.
I also love, having been in Moraga myself 23 years and being very involved in the community, I do know a lot of people in the area. But what I do love about Canyon Club, and one of the reasons you built it and they came. There are people who come from Danville, from Montclair, from far away that maybe know Christian or maybe just like to go to different
There's some of
breweries.
that,
But
a
I
lot of
cannot
that.
believe I go in there and the place is packed and I may not know a single person there. And I love that. That is actually, it's not that it's the
true.
local community, but you bring people from
It's still
all
a destination.
over.
Yeah.
And so many people that I've met just even around the fire pit. You've created this community, and I have met so many people that it just is.
Cool.
It's wonderful.
That's great. No, that's great.
I think Moraga's been that way for a little while. I mean, just simply because of St. Mary's College as well. I mean, that's
True.
always brought in a lot of people from not the area, to come in. And now we're another spot for, a lot of people that come into Moraga to go, oh, we don't just have to go to, St. Mary's, we can go to the pub, or, there's also a lot of bike trails in the area. So
Yes.
there's a lot of bicyclists that like to
A
stop
lot.
at our place.
You're right. You do have the nice bike rack, and I do see that. Yeah, you bring people from all over.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a situation that doesn't exist very often. That kids and dogs and adults can sit outside with a fire pit and have live music and phenomenal beer. Again, back to kind of our mission of this place to enjoy the beer. It's got to be a safe place, right?
Yes.
And there's so many places right now that maybe aren't in the world safe. We're trying to create a safe environment of kindness, of giving,
Keep
and just
showing the
creating
example
this,
of what it is to be kind and to
exactly
treat people with respect.
and this inclusive area
Inclusivity is,
that
is very
is
big.
huge. Everyone is obviously welcome.
Yes.
And that's so important.
It is important. And you bring in people from all ages, all backgrounds, all, ethnicities. It's,
And we hire for that. We don't mind hiring someone with no experience
Right.
in the industry, but they have to be nice, right? I can't
Correct.
train you to be nice or hospitable, but we can
You're right.
train you how to pick up
and you haven't had too many challenges with hiring. I know other restaurants have. So clearly that speaks volumes. People enjoy working there.
Right.
It's a great work environment, which is, again, that, it creates a vibe that we can all feel when we go there.
Right. You can tell that the staff are happy to be
Exactly.
there. And they're just going to, in turn, make the environment
I think
happy.
I think one of the things that we're a little bit ahead of the curve on right now, especially with regards to the hospitality industry, is that we do treat our employees very well and we pay them pretty well. And so therefore we're not getting a lot of the turnover that you're
Correct.
seeing in a lot of other hospitality jobs, especially in rural places, kind of, or more rural suburban places, kind of like what we're at, where it's difficult to retain that type of employee.
So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about what's upcoming. We're in 2023 now. What plans does Canyon Club have?
Well, right now we're doing we're doing a promotion with St. Mary's College, where we're making actually a beer specifically for St. Mary's College that's basically only available at the school. And that's been going over really well, and that's been picking
at the
up
school is it
at all
available?
the sports venues. So
so
now that
during sporting
basketball
events?
basketball season
Okay.
is up and running, and St. Mary's is doing quite well. Hey, go Gales! The
What's
beer
the
has
name of
been-
that beer?
The beer's been doing really well. It's called actually Gale Ale.
Gale Ale.
Yeah,
Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can't get it at Canyon Club. Just
Not yet.
Not
We're
yet.
still testing the waters on how to really
back
roll
to that
that
horse
out.
and cart.
Yes, yeah,
and
because
what type of beer is it?
it's a golden ale.
Okay.
It's just something very light, clean, refreshing, nothing too heavy.
Very college sports.
Yeah, but also very distinctive. I mean, it doesn't taste like your typical macro brew.
Well, I'm going to have to go to a game now.
Yeah. So yeah, we're just trying to figure out the demand there on making sure that we can provide to St. Mary's for everything that they need, that demand, and then maybe hopefully have some on hand for us to sell at the Canyon Club as well. We're getting there.
I'm excited because as a president of Notes for Hope and partnering with Canyon Club, we're going to do Oktoberfest, is what we call it, the
All
month
right.
of October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we
Sure.
all know, but it's also Oktoberfest, in Germany, and we obviously honor that. You do as well with music and food,
Yeah.
but we do that FU Cancer IPA. So thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for being such a safe place for Notes for Hope, but also just providing that outlet when we couldn't do the live music the way that we wanted to, and being able to sell that beer and continue to raise money and awareness for such an important cause. We appreciate that.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing us into that world and that fold. I mean, some of those shows have been the most fun live music we've ever had.
Yeah.
And we love making the beer. I don't actually do anything. He makes. he
You
loves
do a lot.
making the beer. But it's just been a great experience, and people love it. Cancer has obviously touched pretty much anyone.
Pretty much
that
everyone.
has ever existed in the world.
Correct.
And so it's great beer, but at the same time, people see it and they know that part of the proceeds go back to Notes for Hope. And it's just, it's been a great experience for us too.
Yeah. And live music. So just for
And
those
live
folks who haven't been to Canyon Club, great outdoor area. What's your capacity outside?
It's about 175.
175. It's traditional Biergarten. It's got the tables where people can sit together now.
Yeah, they're from Munich. Yeah.
They're from Munich. There's live music Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mostly just Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
and it's
Comedy shows.
acoustic
Live comedy,
show.
all
That's
outside
right.
again, trying to just
Yeah.
create these safe
and a great
spaces.
indoor space as well with a
Yeah.
long bar. So it's just a great place to hang out. I go by myself and sit at the bar and meet people. I do. I go to eat.
No, I know, it's
I
great.
go to eat.
I love it. So honest.
I do.
I go to bars
And
by
because
myself.
I feel like it's another home. And I'm a woman. And women don't do that. A lot of men do that.
But that's actually a great point, though. That you.
No, it is.
That's
it's a testimonial for
Yeah,
me,
that's
the
flattering, yeah.
fact that I feel that comfortable to go there on my own
that's great.
as a woman, and
Yeah.
it feels like family. Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool.
Well, thank you both for being here, and make sure you visit Canyon Club Brewery at 1558 Canyon Road in Moraga for good beer, good food, and great people. You can also, Christian Kozakov and Kevin Hamilton, they're there. You can ask for them by name. They're always cruising around. Well, not Christian, you're there in the day mostly, making the beer every single day. So they are also, you can follow them on Instagram. I want to make sure people know that they have a great Instagram feed. And then for Notes for Hope, you can visit our website at www.notes4hope.org. And I'm Sandy Prito. Again, thank you for watching. What's up, Bay Area?